Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to 21 Questions. I am Icy. I am the host. I am the founder of the Sit Down UK, and this is our weekly interview segment where we get guests on and kind of unpack their stories, the highs, the lows, and everything in between. If you've never ever been involved in what we do, and this is your first time coming over, please follow the Sit Down UK, and also click the link in the bio. Check out our website and press the sign up link. The sign up link will enable you to get tickets 30 minutes before everyone else. When we have our live events, tickets do go fast. So go onto our link in our bio, go onto our website, press the link on sign up and get your tickets 30 minutes before everyone else. Welcome EJ, welcome Sweet Sticks, Laurel in the building. You guys are already here. Big up Juliet. In the comment section, let me know how you are. Let me know something that made you smile this week. Put it in the comment section, something that made you smile this week. I really want to encourage you guys to check out all the other interviews that we've been doing over the past, I think it's 2 years now. It's about 2 years, 2022, yeah. Check them out on our YouTube channel. Click the link in our bio and you can watch it on TSD TV. That's our YouTube channel. Subscribe, and all that good stuff. Subscribe. And go and watch all the interviews. We've had so many interviews, so many just powerful interviews, so much that has been said in there. So go check them out. Pet videos on Insta, Juliet says something that made her smile. Rotimi, welcome. Ayo, my brother, welcome, man. Put it in the comment section, something that made you smile this week. Something that made me smile this week. Oh, something that made me smile this week was a conversation I had potentially for our next guest for our live event. So make sure you're following us to stay tuned for our live events. So that was a good conversation, and yeah, hopefully we'll lock that down. Becoming Bukola, welcome. What was I going to say? Also, anything else? No, nothing else comes to mind. Well, without further ado, we've got a great woman that we're going to interview tonight, Rachel Kerr, singer-songwriter. New album is out, Masterpeace. Make sure you go check that out. But we're going to unpack that her journey to this album. Actually, it's been a long time waiting. We've been waiting, Rachel. We've been waiting. But we're going to unpack that journey that has led to this place. So make sure you tune in. If you do want to watch this from the start, as soon as we post this up, you can press start and you can watch it from beginning to end. And we really recommend share it with people, comment on it, like it, get it out there, because it's conversations that we need to have and conversations that can benefit so many people. All right. So without further ado, Rachel, I'm coming over to you. Right, let me click this. So guys, let me know what has made you smile this week. Put it in the comment section.
Hey, bro.
Rachel.
Can you see me okay? Oh,
You're on the side.
I literally just ran to get a pillow. I said, I may be here for a while. Let me get a pillow.
Get comfy.
I'm telling you, how are you? What's going on?
When was the last time we saw each other?
I couldn't even tell you. It was definitely pre-pandemic. Definitely pre-pandemic. But I know where it was.
I think it was.
Wasn't it at your? Was that your launch?
It was at your. It was at No, it was at your event in.
Was it?
Islington O2.
That okay? It's been a
and
while.
Carl Locos performing.
Yes, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Nice to see you, bro. How you doing? Yeah, right.
Good.
We survived the whole pandemic. It's good to see you.
Well, welcome to 21 Questions.
Thank you, man.
21 Questions, you've got one pass card.
Just got serious real quick.
But I keep saying it in the last, I think we're on the 80th episode, I think. Only one person has used this card. So
Really?
it means you're in good hands, don't worry, you'll be fine.
No pressure.
No pressure. Welcome to every single person that is joining us, 21 Questions with Rachel Kerr. If you do have a question as we go through the session, hey, just pop it in the function below, and as we go along, we'll answer those questions. All right, big up Hello Sender. She said, "You're so pretty. Thank you so much."
Oh, thank you.
Was that to me or to Rachel? I'll take it. First off, most important, can you please big up your album and tell us where we can get it?
Oh gosh, yeah. So my album Masterpeace is out now. After 4 years of grinding, crafting, we finally released it. I'm just so proud of it. It's absolutely the best body of work I've put together. From the writing to the BB to the instrumentation, the live instrumentation, the production. We have literally stowed every ounce of creative excellence into this project. And I'm big on excellence. I'm big on things being so good that it outlives you. But what I love about this album is that it's full of anthems, whether it be self-affirming anthems, reminding yourself of your worth, to reminding yourself that your tomorrow, the best is yet to come, whether it be vulnerable songs where you can connect on a deeper level. It's just real, hopeful, inspirational music that's just a vibe. So yeah, it's called Masterpeace. Masterpiece spelled peace opposite of war, Masterpeace, and it's available on all streaming platforms. Really proud of this one. I'm really grateful to see what it's done already. But if you want that's available now.
Come on, talk that talk. Love it. But I love it. I love it. I told Ariel, I just kept on messaging him, this song. So yeah, we'll get into it.
Thank you. No, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you, man.
Really, I had it on a car drive. I was driving somewhere.
Okay.
And it was just uplifting. It was uplifting.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. That was the vision. So thank you for that. It means a lot.
Good. All right, we're going to do quick fire round. Quick fire questions coming at you left, right, and centre. All you have to do is answer them as they come to you.
Let's go.
Are you ready? All right. When do you... No. Let me not start off with that one. No, let me start off that one. Finish this sentence. I would never...
betray myself. Ever again.
Ever again.
I will never betray myself. I feel like I'm all about authentic living. I'm all about being who you truly are. I'm not about you being the lesser version of yourself, but you really being the best version of yourself, but being authentic to who you are. I spent a few years trying to mold myself into what I believed others wanted from me. But there's something about maturity, something about the pandemic, really being forced to be by yourself, that I realized that actually from now on moving forward, I'm absolutely going to be an authentic expression of me. And I will never again, God give me grace, betray myself. If it doesn't feel good to me, I'm not about it.
Come on. Love that. First thing you do in the morning?
Pray.
Yeah. Why?
It just gives me peace. It gives me peace. I'm very spiritual. And I think I'm one of those people who, I wouldn't say I have a religion, but I definitely have a relationship, with the higher being, with God. I have that relationship. So, the best thing I do is pray. Not because I was taught to do that, just because for me, I'm aware of my insufficiencies. Painfully aware sometimes. And it just gives me peace. Everyone has their different thing, but for me, it gives me peace to know that wherever I may fall short today, there's something or someone that may just give me a bit of grace to cover my flaws. So for me, it's just good to start off with a bit of gratitude and a bit of, thanks, but just also asking for power to allow the day to go according to what the divine's perfect will is. So yeah, I think I'd be right.
100%. Favorite item in your wardrobe, and I know your wardrobe is big.
Favorite item? My pajamas. My pajamas. Listen, it's like everyday makeup and costume. Sometimes your pajamas. So yeah, honestly, probably my pajamas.
Yeah. Okay. Something that is still on your bucket list.
Something. There's so much. There's so much.
What's top?
I think the first thing that comes to mind is going to Asia with my husband. We had an opportunity to go, but then the pandemic hit. And I went to Asia with a really dear friend of mine, had the time of my life. And of course, when you have a significant other, everything you experience, you're like, oh, I'd love to show him this. So I think that's one thing we still need to do. Funny story. I was meant to go for my honeymoon. And I said to my mom, we're going to go to Thailand for our honeymoon. And my mom, bless her, is one of those people who, she was a little bit Thailand. I don't know this Thailand. So to make sure we kept ourselves in England, she was like, but I heard that there's civil war in Thailand. Me, being very naive, I was like, really?
No.
We're not going. Only to find out that she just kind of made it up. So we missed out on the opportunity for my honeymoon. Sometimes it's not good to be obedient. So so that's a big thing that I want to do, go to Thailand.
Soon come.
Yeah.
Last time you were starstruck?
I don't really get starstruck, you know.
I didn't think you do.
No, I don't. I don't, you know. I mean, I meet people that I really respect, but funny enough, the people that I deeply respect aren't celebrities.
Okay.
They're not celebrities. They're people who may be spiritual mentors. There may be people who are business people. But yeah, I've never met a No. That's bad, isn't it? No, I haven't. I'm sorry, I haven't.
That's fine. What's the best show or performance you had? One where you came off stage and you were just like, you know what? That was amazing.
I will never forget it. We were opening for Brandy.
Oh my
and
goodness.
The energy between me and my team we reference that performance to this day. I don't know what it was, but everything was in alignment. I remember turning back and looking at my MD, who's my drummer, and he was Emmanuel, shout out Emmanuel. He was sweating and screaming, because the energy was just so potent. And me too, I turned around and I went, no! So something about that energy on that day. We all came off stage, my BBs, 3 BBs, the whole band, and we were literally just crying, jumping, screaming, because there was something about that performance that, you know, when you feel for years you're flapping, you're trying, something about that. We were soaring in our gift. It was easy, it was effortless, and we could feel the audiences. The audience were right there with us. Every riff, every run, every lyric, they were there. And something about that experience has never left me.
Wow. Have you ever repeated that? Have you ever come close to that again?
Yeah, we have. Yeah, I think that was the first time we experienced it. But since then, thankfully, by God's grace, by investing in your gift, perfecting it, it's easier to replicate that. But I think the reason why that stuck out was because it was the first time where performing was easy. It was therapeutic almost. So of course, when you experience that, of course you want more of it. So that's when we really started training our gift, doing rehearsals, and thankfully now we replicate it a bit more frequently. Yeah.
Dream collabo.
Oh.
One phone call.
That's a great question. Dream collaboration. Funny things again, I don't really have one. I have a few that I love, a few people that I really love. I'd love to see how we work together. Massive fan of Burna Boy, massive fan of Emily King, love Damian Marley, there's a Jamaican artist called Savannah, love Savannah. There's a few people, I can't say it's just one, but yeah, there's a few people that come to mind.
Cool. I finish this sentence. I feel most confident when.
Oh, that's a great question. I feel most confident when I know I've spiritually grown. So I feel I spent a lot of time between 2018 to 2020 really soul searching and really kind of got on this spiritual journey. And what I started to do was invest more in my character than my comfort. Okay. So when I say comfort are the things that, the world applauds and things that people see on the aesthetic, on the superficial. But I started to really spend time on my character, the fruit that I genuinely possess, patience, forgiveness, loads of different things. And when I started to see progress in even the way I handled certain situations, a bit more graciousness and a bit more patience, I started to feel more confident in myself to know that, gifts are great, nice when you can sing and have different abilities, but what takes work is when you work on yourself and your character. Sure. And because of there's certain things now that I handle with more grace that I didn't 7 years ago. When my mom or my husband or my friends say, Rach, that was so gracious, I feel like, yes, it's working. You know what I mean? With all humility. I think, when I see myself spiritually grow my character, that gives me a bit more confidence. Okay, maybe I'm doing something all right. Right. Yeah.
That leads on to the next one then. A personality trait you want to work on.
I think sometimes pessimism or being very cautious. Yeah, I'm better now than I used to be, but I still feel like my instinctive reaction to things is not, let's try it, it's gonna work. It's
Same,
always, do
same.
you know what I mean? It's still, oh, my mind will sometimes instinctively go to all the things that won't work out or why it's not going to be easy.
Yeah,
And again, being married to somebody who's ever the optimist, I do sometimes feel like, oh, I hope I'm not bringing them down.
yeah.
But I think instinctively I can be very cautious and think of all the no's before just following faith and thinking of yes. So that's probably one
You know when you're cautious, extra cautious, and
thing.
then something happens, does it confirm to you the reason why you were cautious?
It does, but I have this saying that I have this saying that everyone, my family laugh at. Yes, it does make me more cautious when things don't work out. But also on the flip side, I keep saying this thing to my family. You see, God, I've seen him move the mountains for me. I've seen him do things that I'm like, that really should not have worked out. That there was no logic behind that working out the way you did.
Yeah.
So as much as, of course, when things don't work out, I do kind of feel like I knew it. There have been many times, I'm not a prophet, or I'm not somebody who can always sense that I'm human. And there have been times when I've been like, that's not going to work out. And it works out better than I could even anticipate. So, yeah, so it's life, right? It's a balance. But yeah.
Your last question is favorite dessert or food?
Favorite dessert? I'm a crumble and custard girl, or a cake and custard.
Wait. You know when you say crumble and custard? What kind of crumble are you? Are you the crumble, or are you the more apple than crumble?
No, the devil is a liar. For me, there has to be a good amount of crumble and a little bit of fruit. No one's asking for fruit and custard. You know what I mean? So for me, a good dense crumble and a little slithering of fruit. I'm happy.
Yes.
Yeah, that's me.
Some crumbles I've had.
And food, please.
There's some crumbles I've had. There's more apple than crumble.
You know, and those people are the ones who, no doubt, are thriving in their lives because we know the importance of fruit. But still, sometimes my stomach rejects it. I said, no, give me more crumble than fruit. So
yes. Love it. Yeah, food. What about food?
Food, Caribbean food all day. Caribbean food. Yeah, it is. Whenever I need a bit of a pick-me-up, whenever I need, I'm not feeling 100%. It's something about Caribbean food. It's for the soul.
Sweeten me.
Something like that, brother.
Lastly, actually, I want to know this. What are you great at? What is Rachel Kerr amazing at? No humble, no nothing, just...
Oh, no. What am I really good at? I think I'm really good at... It's ironic, right? I think I'm really good at encouraging people. I think that's something that I do instinctively, even with my business, Singer-Size. A lot of things that a lot of my clients, a lot of the people that I train or the coaches that we have, one thing I keep hearing is that really uplifted me, that really inspired me. Even, funny enough, in my songwriting, it's very difficult for me to write a song that's really sad without there being some kind of light. Like even with the album. Do you know what I mean? Even with the album, there's one song that's so vulnerable to me. It's a song called Artist in Me. And I wrote that song, you know, in a really dark place, challenging place. But there was no way we were going to end the song like that. I had to come through with, you're going to make it. We're going to make it. Do you know what I mean? Just to uplift my spirit. So, I think for me, the thing that I tend to do effortlessly is just encourage people to be the best version of themselves and really strengthen people's voices. I don't think it's a coincidence that God has given me a voice musically in terms of speaking, but I know the strength of that voice is because he wants me to use that to empower the voices of others. So, that's something that I feel just happens to be my purpose. So it's something that I find not difficult. I don't find it.
Yeah. Well, that's your quick fire done. That was light work for you. We got to every single person that has joined us so far, 21 questions with Rachel Kerr. And we are going to just delve a bit deeper into the makeup of you. What was something that made you smile this week?
Something that made me smile this week, probably my daughter. She's always making me laugh. Always making me something. Grace.
Wow.
Her name's Grace. Yeah.
Wow.
just seeing her grow and some of the things she does. Like I said to her today, not this today, this week, no, Grace, no. She now turned around and said, no.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind she's 9 months, so I was like, oh, okay.
Wow. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So certain things that she does, even now, makes me chuckle a lot.
Yeah, love it. For you growing up, when did you notice your parental setup was different to others?
What's quite interesting is that,
yeah.
yeah. What's quite interesting is that I grew up with a lot of nuclear families around me.
Mm-hmm.
So my grandparents were together literally till death they parted. On both sides, I knew both of them for even to my late 20s. All four of them were alive, and we have and had passed on good relationship. Again, my parents have been together for 41 years. Right.
Beautiful.
My closest friends, again, they were from nuclear. So it's very interesting because me and my friends speak about, my childhood friends, we speak about this a lot. Not all of us, but the majority of us did come from nuclear. Is it nucleus? Forgive me if I'm saying it wrong. But a nucleus, thank you. Nucleus families where there was a mom and a dad. I think, and to be honest, I still don't see that. I didn't see that as a different setup. I understood that some people didn't have that and some people did, but it wasn't their biological parent, it was a step parent.
Yeah.
But actually, no. There was one time when my backing vocalist said to me, Rachel, the only person I know who had a normal childhood. She said, that's what she said. Wow. That was probably about 7 years ago. And I remember thinking, oh, okay. So it was the first time someone actually said it to me, but I think growing up, I just saw it as just one expression. There's many expressions of normal, just one expression of the norm.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. How was that instrumental in your childhood and your upbringing, having your mum and dad there?
Yeah, it was a good yin and yang. It was a good, and I'm grateful because my mom's fire, my dad's water, you know what I mean? But the two work so well together, incredibly well together. And I think the things I took for granted was just a security. Like, I've had a very good childhood. Everything was quite secure. Dinner at this time, wake up this time, church at this time, school at this time. We had real routines. And I'm grateful for that. It's funny, I speak to the people and I realize now how rare for some people that was. But I appreciated it. I had a great childhood. And one of the things I think I was given that is to really help people who may not have been given that, help them to see a different perspective. Because I think sometimes when you grow up in a certain environment, you have a certain normal, you see life in a certain way. But when you have somebody who opposes that or has something different to say or different experience, it just enriches your understanding of the world, right? So, I think, but again, I've been grateful, and I'm really grateful in that my background and my childhood, thankfully, was really pleasant.
Yeah. What's the one thing that really bonds all of you together tight as a family?
Definitely our faith.
Yeah.
Definitely our faith. Like, I think our faith is a big one. I always say to people, everyone identifies themselves as their nationality generally. So some will say I'm Nigerian or I'm Jamaican or I'm Indian. I came from an Indian family. The first thing I think of is I came from a Pentecostal family. I'm Pentecostal, just because that was so much a part of our identity. Like even now, if we're joking or laughing, it's got to have some kind of church influence. Yeah. So, do you know what I mean? It's very difficult to identify ourselves outside of that. I think that does combine us together and join us together. My mom's big on prayer. So prayer, music, those are some of the things that are glue for us. And I think one thing I love about my family is that they're quite humble. They're really humble. As much as they have experienced great things in life, they're really humble, really teachable. And that brings us together because I think we all understand, we're all learning. We're all, I mean, even last night, I was speaking to my mom, realized I probably handled the situation in a way that could have been better. So I called her back and said, Mom, sorry, maybe I should have said this. And I think there's something about when we are vulnerable with each other in that way that just draws us closer. And we're all like that. Even my dad, the head of the house, we're all like that. All quite teachable. So those are some of the things that I think bring us together. Yeah.
And your dad was a singer. What, from when you were young, what could you see from your perspective as him being a singer? Was it a massive thing in the family, or was it just, That's just what Dad does as a hobby.
No, it was a big thing.
Yeah,
It was a big, like even now, like I mean, some people know me as Rachel Kerr. To this day, some people still know me as Dalton Kerr's daughter.
Dalton Kerr,
Like, we don't care who you are. We know who your dad is, though. You know. So yeah, no, he was that was a big thing, and not just that, because he was the director of a mass choir where there's over like 100 voices. So you know, he was very much known in that. But it was great because, again, when you see your parents finding intense joy and passion from something, it's difficult to see that, especially if you share the gifting.
Wow.
It's difficult to see that and not feel like, oh, I want some. Let me try that. Of course, our expression of our gift is very different. That is very traditional. I say I push the boundaries a lot in terms of how I express my gift. But again, the integrity of what we say, the message behind what we say is very similar. Yeah. But yeah, it was a big influence. Even now, my dad's releasing an album. Is it this year?
Way.
Yeah, this year. And funny enough, my management company take care of me, is taking it on, doing it, producing it for him. And it's amazing how when I hear his lyric melodies, how he writes and how he normally has an inclination to the minor chord and certain things he does, I'm like, that's where I get it from. I understand. So our writing style is quite similar. So yeah, it was a huge inspiration.
Big up, Daddy. Big up, Daddy. What would you whisper to a 10-year-old Rachel now, standing in 2022? What would you whisper to a 10-year-old Rachel?
That's such a good question. I would say, and I had to learn this as I got older, but I would say, because let me set the scene for it, because it won't make sense unless I do. Growing up, I was really serious about school. I was really, like, even my friends they talk about it, they tease me all the time. They were like, Rachel was that friend who you'd call 6 times in a row, and each time her mom's like, I'm sorry, she's still studying. She won't move from her. I was just maybe sometimes too serious about studies, and thank God it was profitable for me in terms of my career when I was in the corporate world. But I do feel like I put such a pressure on myself to be the example and to be, and to do my parents proud. And I put a bit of, my parents didn't do it, but I put that pressure on myself. And then at times, there was a season I went through, probably like late teens, where all the things that I relied on for my identity, my achievement, my gift, it just started to crumble. the accolades and the people and the things that I'd find affirmation from. In the season of 3 years, I really was challenged. The people that used to applaud me started to shun me. Wow. The things I used to thrive at, I wasn't doing so well at. It was like 3 years of God really training me. And but what I would say to myself at 10 is that your worth is not what you do. Your worth is not what you do. So if you don't get straight A's next time, you're still of value. And it took me some time to learn that, especially when you're an overachiever. You like to achieve a lot in your head. You have to learn that your worth is not what you do. Your worth is how you treat yourself and how you treat others. That's where your worth is. But I think at 10, if someone said to me, if you do not achieve another A, you're still valuable. You're still that chick. I think I would have experienced that difficult season, a bit more graciously, and not been as depressed as I was. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I'd probably say. You're not what you do.
Does it ever still crop up now? Especially with your music? No,
not as much, because when I say to you, those 3 years were intense. You know what I mean? Literally, you're applauded, you're seen as a certain person, you're doing well, and literally it felt like everything just didn't work. You'd sing and it didn't translate. You try something and it failed. Like it was a 3 year season. It was horrible. I call it, me and my husband, when we reflect back on it, we call it the dark ages. But when I say to you, it was so essential in building character. So I think if I went through my whole life being applauded, my whole life people excited to see me, my whole life things working out, what a shallow human being, and how flimsy you would be when storms do present themselves. So since that season, I had to really learn what it was to, yes, love yourself. I think it's kind of a buzzword, but seek affirmation in the things that matter. What's God saying about me right now? The ones who know me the best, what are they saying about me right now? And furthermore, who do I answer to being? When you really knuckle down on that because you're not getting the applause and the superficial affirmation that you're used to, it does something to you. It develops a strength of character, I dare say, a bit of fearlessness. So because those 3 years were so intense, I dare say I don't experience it. I mean, we're all human, but nowhere near as much as I used to.
Yeah.
Nowhere near. Yeah.
And I think, it's funny because in this, I guess, social media age, that one quality is so needed in adults and young people alike. That ability to identify, where do I get my true validation from? Is it from this post I've just put up? Or can I exist outside that post? You know what I'm saying? And it's so needed right now. So needed, 100%.
Yeah, I think it's important. It's tricky. It's hard.
Oh my gosh.
But it's hard. But I feel, and I also feel like, I think being married to a businessman, he's very big on, like, he'll just lock off social media for a whole year if he needs to. And he's big on this whole social media thing is great, but he so doesn't value it. He's more like, okay, so what's the profit saying? What are you earning? You know what I mean? What, not just in terms of material wealth as well. Are you better today than you were yesterday? He's so big on things outside of that. So when you're around that a lot, very rarely do you get caught up in the whole, how many likes did that post get? It'll pass your mind, but at the same time, again, that's why it's important to get validation outside of these things. Because, isn't it?
You as a person, what other interests do you have besides music? What other things interest you and catch your attention?
I live on inspirational podcasts, inspirational sermons, spiritual sermons. I live, like, literally, like, I go to bed listening to a sermon. If I'm feeling happy, I'll put on a sermon. If I'm, chilling with friends, I'll check out this new sermon or this new podcast. I'm big on inspirational talk. So yeah, even in the car, like I was in the car with somebody recently and they were like, Rachel, you don't know music. It's everyday talking. It's no music on it. But again, I don't know what it is. I love the idea of self-improvement, just acquiring knowledge and wisdom. I don't know, I find it fascinating. Maybe it's the academic in me. Do you know what I mean? I just like that. So that's a big thing for me. Of course, I love teaching. The reason why I started my company, Size, which is a performing arts academy, is because I love what it is to coach and to teach and to inspire. I love that. And I'm big on food. Big on food and friends. That's me. That's pretty much me.
Are you still into arts and crafts?
I am. So I used to do, so it's interesting you say that, because I used to do a lot of painting back in the day. I haven't painted for years now. Wow. But funny, my mum still has some of my paintings hanging up at home. But no, I haven't painted for years. The arts and crafts I do now is like makeup on my face. Doing my nails, but in general, not as much as I used to now. Not as much, but I can't wait to the point where I'm a little bit less busy. I can really do it. Yeah.
Would you ever, if you put music down, is there something that you would pursue immediately?
It's interesting because one thing I'm grateful for is that everything I'm doing outside of music is kind of what I want to do. Okay. So outside of music, again, my performing arts academy, it's my passion, it's my love, and thank God I've been able to do that successfully. So outside of music, I'd probably just continue to just build that and make it just bigger and better, and just help more people be the best expressions of themselves on stage and off stage, and really and I think educate people to understanding the business behind music and understanding that if you don't sell a million records, you can still be affluent, you can still do well. But not everyone understands the business behind it. People are more interested in popularity than the business. And again, just allowing people to understand the importance of character and rooting in an industry that's so fickle. We've been blessed in Singer to, train a lot of celebrities and people who are doing their thing. And sometimes, not with everybody, but sometimes there is such a lack of that's in the industry. Just peace. Peace. Wow. Just like, just peace. Just like, I'm successful, but I'm also at peace. Yeah. Sometimes that's lacking. And I understand that the industry is so fickle, but just allowing people to, again, on a spiritual level, be trained to understand that they're not their gift alone. It's an expression of them, but I mean, Rachel Kerr is Rachel Kerr 0.5% of the time. Outside of that, I'm not singing, I'm not writing, I'm a whole person. Do you know what I mean? So it's just because to help people get to that point of themselves as artists. So yeah, if I wanted to do music, it'd probably be what I'm doing.
Yeah. And it's funny you said that, because that was the next question I wanted to ask about. Rachel Kerr, the mother, the wife, the sister, the daughter, and then there's Rachel Kerr on stage. And I wonder if you've ever had to tussle between the two in terms of keeping them as one person, or has there ever been a chasm of this is Rachel on stage, this is Rachel off stage?
Yeah, I think, Rachel on stage and Rachel off stage, we're two different people.
Yeah.
I remember when, was it Beyonce was getting a lot of backlash for calling her alter ego Sasha Fierce, and somebody else, there's another performer who gave their alter ego a certain name. And I remember people really going, oh, it's Illuminati, it's whatever. But I really understood it. I was like, I don't see the hype. I don't get the hype. When you're a performer, you get it. I can't imagine walking around the house being Rachel on stage. That's a bit much.
Yeah, I want toast.
Do you know what I mean? It's much. Yeah. But for some reason on stage, it just feels right. It's just another expression of me. So no, they're very different. They're very different. In fact, I think a lot of people do say, I'm here talking to you and I had no idea it was you until you just said something. And the joke is, I've been to one of your concerts. The two are very different. But they're different, and I think that's healthy.
100%. I used to get that all the time. So they'd be like, "Oh, you're really quiet off stage. Like, you don't really talk much." I'm like, "Look, the person on stage it's literally God's anointing to do that thing, and that thing only. As soon as I come off that stage, they're like, they take off and they're like, oh, well, cool. That's right. What it's been used to do, it's been done. Go about your day. When we need you, we'll call. And so, like you said, I've never had to be icy off stage because I just can't manufacture that person. I'm an introvert, but I do extrovert things. But I'm an introvert.
But that's a human. That just goes to show the duplicity of human expression. That's very normal. That's very. I think, in actual fact, the person who isn't able to be a social chameleon and adapt to certain situations is actually somebody who can sometimes be a bull in a china shop. I think it's important to understand seasons and understand what's required from you at certain times, but still maintain the essence of who you are. You know what I mean? True. I doubt people be like, you are completely different. You don't have the same morals or ethics as the person. You know what I mean? There'll be a strain of truth throughout all the characters that you are. Yeah. But I do feel like, it's healthy to be different things according to different situations. That's healthy, right? So yeah.
What things for you as an individual, as a person, really make you angry? Because sometimes they say those things are what you've been sent to on earth to kind of tackle or to champion. Yeah, what things really?
Why? That's some good questions, Annie. That's an exceptional question. What makes me angry?
Your face just changed.
Yeah. What makes there's a few things. I think the biggest one. Oh, there's so many. There's so many. What makes me angry, Rachel? What makes you go, okay. I don't like to see, I'm going to expose myself now, but I'm going to be honest. I don't like to see God's people suffer. I don't like to see good people not succeed. I don't like it. I don't know what it is, but I don't like to not see. I don't like to see it. But the thing that I don't like even more is that, and I'm going to go back to my kind of churchy roots now, if you don't mind.
Please do.
I don't like that we're not always taught what it really is to be people of faith. We have an idea of what it looks like, and what we should say and the Christianese and all these different, or again, I'm only speaking on behalf of myself, my experiences, but one thing that makes me really angry is when we're not taught what it really is to be effective in faith, to speak to the mountain and it be moved. We're not taught the tools. And I feel like what I've seen, especially with the older generation, is a lot of critical people, bitter people, slightly hypocritical people, not because they're bad people, but because they're so frustrated with years of being in the faith, but not seeing the fruit of it. Wow. So what happens is somebody comes along that's younger, that's expressing their Christianity in a different way, and because it doesn't look like what they're used to, the first thing they do is demonize it. And I know exactly what that feels like, being an inspirational artist, writing about certain things, writing in a certain way, dressing a certain way, speaking a certain way, refusing to do what the traditional forerunners have done, rather than us understanding that this may be a new expression of the faith. We'd rather demonize it than understand it. So the reason I say I don't like to see good people not prosper, or you know the righteous people not do well. The reason why I get frustrated is I feel like the previous generations haven't really been taught what it is to really walk in faith, to really use the tools such as the word, the actual word of God, not just pray according to whatever they want to pray, but really pray the word of God to change the situation. We've not been taught that. We've not been taught of our spiritual armor, the importance of fasting, the importance of prayer, how to pray, the importance of communion. There's so many things that we don't know. We just do what we think we're meant to. We go to church on a Sunday. We say the right hallelujah. There's certain things we do that we think is enough, but then you don't see fruit. And for some reason, something about that upsets me. And I feel like it's time for a younger generation to really be effective in society, effective in the music industry, and not conform to what the forerunners did or what we're expected to do. Because I know what it's like to burst onto the scene and people be like, all I see is, self, or all I see is flesh, and not realizing that, in actual fact, maybe it's just a new expression of something that God's doing. You know what I'm trying to say? So what gets me upset is when people are so set in their ways because they're upset and bitter that their expression of faith has to produce fruit, and they lash out at those who are producing fruit but in a different way. That makes me angry. And it's a shame because I feel like we've all got the same plan. We've just got different expressions of it. So so that's one thing that annoys me, not seeing good people do well because we've not been taught, and then get bitter and then lash out. I don't like that. I don't know, I hope that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. We came in doing grime, so okay. That makes a lot of sense. And people are resonating with what you're saying in the chat. Is that something, looking at your music career, and especially coming to London, you came more so to study law. It wasn't really to come and necessarily pursue music, but doors flung open, and you took a leap. But in taking that leap, it sounds like there were stones. People had stones in their hand and were like, no, that's not. That ain't how it's supposed to be done.
Absolutely. Oh my God. It knocked me for everlasting.
Speak on that.
Yeah, because again, you walk in, Rachel, do you want to sing here? Okay. Rachel, do you want to do this? Okay. You just do it blindly, just like, okay, let me just see. I don't want anything from it. Let me just go along, as we say in Jamaica. Let's just go along and just see what happens. And then as you're doing it, and like, actually, this is helping people and people are responding to it. You then get actual season of Pharisees. You get, long story short, you get the people who've been in it for a while, who've established their dominion over what they do, and then you're seen as a real threat. And when I say to you, I was the kind of person who I don't want to offend anybody. I don't want anybody to accept with me. Very thin-skinned. Like, I would just, please don't be offended. I come waving the white flag. I come in peace, please. But and it's funny, my mum used to always say to me growing up, especially when I used to get bullied at school, she used to say, Rachel, for what God wants you to do, you're too thin-skinned. You need to toughen up a bit. But I think, that really helped me. Just understanding that, okay, of course I want to be accepted by people who've been doing this for a while, people who are in the industry who are I don't want to say, okay, people who were just doing it. People were just doing it. But I realized very quickly that we're not the same. We're not the same. You're not going to understand it. You're probably not going to like it. And you will resent it a bit. And this is encouragement to anybody who's doing something different, doing something in a way that's not the norm.
Yeah.
There are going to be stones. There are going to be people who don't understand it. You will be misunderstood. But it's absolutely what you need. It's absolutely what you need to refine your character, to understand that you will not always get the applause of people, that in actual fact, more than your gift, your character is what's important. So if people don't like the song, but I know in my heart that I'm a good person, or I'm trying every day to be that, I'm content with that, you know? But I think it definitely matured me because, and what's beautiful is that as we grow and as people have seen my journey, I've had quite a few of the people who did public campaigns to to cancel, but back then there wasn't cancel culture, but people who really went in to express on social media how they're discontent towards me. What's so beautiful is that in their humility, in their graciousness, when they understood the vision, they came back, in, which I think is so commendable to the ones who did, and in their humility said, Rachel, I'm sorry. I didn't see it. I get it now. I get it now. And there's been so many people, and I'm talking about people my age, people who are a lot older than me, who've come back and said, oh, I get it now. I'm so sorry. I didn't see it. And for that inspires me. That's such a beauty of character, for that humility. But yeah, it came, and it came thick and fast. But it was absolutely what I needed to be the best expression of me. Yeah. I even
Someone who has been there along that ride, your husband, we got Ayub. How many years have you lot been married now? 11?
We've been together for 12 years 12. And married for 8 years. 8.
You do not seem 100 on that.
It's 8 years. It's 8 years this year.
Okay.
It's 8 years this year. No, it is. Yeah, it's 8 years this year.
Tell me about some powerful lessons learned in marriage.
There's so many. I feel like, and we're both big on deep conversations. We're both big on deep, substantial pillow talk. We're big on that. So there's been so many lessons. I think the biggest thing about marriage that I've seen, it's all good loving someone, and this may be, okay, there's a few things. Number one, it's all good loving somebody, but you must like them. You know what I'm saying? Do you get it though? You know people who will say, oh, that's my bro, I love him, or that's my auntie, I love her. But if you were to be in a room with that person in the pandemic, would you vibe? If things are really going badly outside, would you still make each other laugh and encourage each other, even when everything's showing you that you really need to be crying right now? Can you somehow still bounce off each other and get the energy to make things work? It's important to love someone, but when you like, you know, for me, I always say that's my boy. That's my personal person. Not just my husband and, you know, the head of my home. It's not that deep. It's more, I respect his essence. You know what I mean? So he's a good man. Not a good one. No, I like him. That's the first thing I'll say. Actually, the pandemic was fun for us. I mean, when I say that with full sensitivity. We know people passed. I even lost, you know, people in that time, especially my granddad to be one of them. But regardless of what was going on, we still found a way to build. We built a lot in that season. So yeah, that's the first thing. Love somebody, yes, but infatuation comes and goes, but do you like that person? Do you respect that person? That's the first thing I'd say. Second thing I'd say is, yeah, it's a daily sacrifice, but I think everyone says, oh, marriage is a sacrifice, but what does that mean? I think it's the biggest sacrifice in marriage is the ego. You have to be the kind of person who's just really teachable. Like even yesterday, there's so many times when he said to me, right, you could have done that better. And granted, the way he expresses correction is always in love. It's never like, what, are you an idiot? What? Never called me out my name, never made me feel like an idiot. Has always been like, Rach, no, but there's a better way. Likewise, we'd grown. I mean, because we knew each other from when we were young, so we grew. Wasn't always the case, but now it's definitely we're at a place where if I say to him, "Nah, Bobs, that wasn't," before there's defense, before there's justification, there's a, "Oh, really? Why? What did I do?" And it sounds simple, but that level of humility, even for someone to come to you and say, "Was I okay? Was that okay? How I did that?" Or we have a conversation. Do you feel like when I spoke to you that way, did you feel respect? Did you hear my heart? Not talking to be heard, but talking because just always wanting to understand and make sure that you are being the best version of yourself for the other person. That's a big one. So I think just really sacrificing ego. There have been times when I know he knows he's right, but because him asserting his rightness won't help the situation, he'll sit back and be like, "Okay, I'm wrong." And we both know he's right, but he'll still say he's wrong. And vice versa. There are times when I'm like, this is not going to work. But you know what? Let me just pray about this thing and let him go along, because I don't want to break his spirit. And let me just leave this one and go to the Father. And again, it's just that humility to know that I'm right, but because I don't want to break you, because I want to preserve the essence of who you are, let me humble my ego, pray that you prove me wrong. I don't mind being proved wrong if it means that you're enhanced. You know what I mean? So yeah, like the person, just sacrifice the ego, man. Like just, sacrifice the ego. Is there anything else? There's plenty of things, you know. There's plenty of things, but those are two things that come to mind. I really like them. And if you're ready to sacrifice your ego, know you're right, but because it's a good person and because you know this will aid their growth, be okay looking like the idiot, being okay being the fool, just to make sure that they grow. You're ready to be married. Yeah.
Somewhere.
You're ready.
I love that. Now add into the mix work.
Yeah.
That is something I commend you to for, because being an artist can be so dare I say selfish? Now when I say selfish, the vision you see in your mind is so strong, so powerful.
Yeah.
To bring anybody, an assistant, a manager, bring anybody on board can be a risk, a threat to that.
Yeah.
Add that to you being married to that person. So whatever happens in the business comes to the pillow.
Yeah.
How have you both managed that dynamic?
That's been something that has been challenging, in that when music's great and things are going well, it's the best feeling, because you're sharing everything with that person that you would want to share it with. When things are tricky, and because the management of me is one of the things that my husband does. He does just, as you know, a lot of things. But I dare say the management of the project and my music has his heart. So everything else is business, but there's something about, obviously being affiliated with me, it has his heart. So if there's a L we catch, if we lose on something in music, it affects it deeply. Unfortunately, we can't just turn it off. Like with anything else, like with my Performing Arts Academy, with his project management company, things go wrong there. We have a team of people. It can, okay, cool, we'll sort out tomorrow. But because the music has our heart, when things don't go wrong, it's hard to just be like, switch off. Okay, what do you want for dinner? Let's just. We're both like. So that's tricky. We haven't got a solution. But one thing we've learned is that nothing lasts forever. Everything's seasonal. There'll be a win, then there may be a lose, then there'll be another win. So we've just learned to continue and just ride the vicissitudes of life and still just have that foundational knowledge that we've got each other. So God help us, we've got each other. So I trust him. He trusts me. I don't ever feel like when he does something, I need to be double checking and looking to make sure it was done well. So that trust is important.
Nice.
When if he comes back and there's a massive disappointment, I won't say to him, well, what email did you send? How did you speak to the person? What did they? I know that if it didn't go through, that probably wasn't God's will, because I know he represented me and what we do in the best way possible. So that trust is what makes it easier. Yeah.
There was a question that came through. It said, how did you know your husband was right for you?
I don't know. For me, I think I'd seen him in very challenging situations. And my thing is, I'm quite a realist in that uh, the flowers and the chocolates and the rainbows and the clouds and, the honeymoon period's wonderful. But let me see when you're pressed. Let me see when you're stressed. Let me see, when you're really going through, and if the challenges compromise your character. If it does, then okay, you're gonna be a good friend of mine. We're probably not meant to write this thing together. Um, but I think a few things. I'd seen him really in difficult times and respected how he handled it. I respected his maintenance of his integrity. I really have fun with him. Again, it's that thing. I really like him. I feel sometimes we have this thing of, it's a great person. It's a man of faith. It's a person who's doing well in life. And, but realistically, in your heart that, but we don't vibe. We don't need to vibe. We can just build. And that's important as well. Building and having a similar vision is important. But I think, thankfully, I'm grateful in that. But we met, we were very young, but we were friends. Genuinely, that's my personal person. You know what I mean? So I think I liked how he operated when challenged and when really in a bad situation. Really just liked him. And I feel like we had very similar principles in terms of family, business, faith, how we treat ourselves, how we treat other people. He was a bit more advanced in that, I must admit. He was a bit more, I dare say, mature than me. He had to bring me up to scratch. I think he was always been very mature, very integral, and I think maybe he was a little bit more free-spirited, but he's definitely kind of helped me become more refined and really enhanced in terms of, character and spiritual work. But same principles, same underlying stuff. And as I said, I think our vision was the same. Where we want to go in life, what we want for our family, it's the same. And we don't expect more from the other person than we would give ourselves. So I don't think he's the kind of person, or I'm certainly not the kind of person who expects him to do all the work and me not do anything.
Yeah.
Like, in actual fact, I've noticed he does this a lot. I'll be doing something and he's sleeping. But because he can see me doing something, it's like he feels guilty sleeping. So he'll be like, "Oh, do you need help?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "You're waiting for, I'm calling you." But just being considerate to know that. I mean, yeah, those are some things that came to mind. But yeah, those are the things that made me realize after 4 years before we got me, 12 and 8, 4 years, I thought, okay, this is somebody who gives me peace. Yeah, he gives me peace. He maintains my peace. This will work. Yeah. By God's grace, we're still, bear in mind, the journey's not over, we're still going. Pray for us as we pray for you.
Motherhood has entered into the family.
A whole somebody's mama.
A whole somebody's mama, And I've got my 2-year-old. And one thing I've realised, oh my days, you think you know yourself. You only know one version of yourself.
Yeah.
When a child comes, a whole new version of yourself is revealed onto you that you didn't know existed. And I wanted to, for you, with your daughter, what was that experience like, stepping into that new role? As a person and dealing with that. Someone said to me the other day that on the weekend that parenthood is like being a lecturer and a student at the same time. Something you're trying to teach, but you're still learning. And I wondered, what it was like for you.
Yeah. I think I'm still, let me not decree anything negative. She's not yet at the point where she's talking and has her own. No, she has her own opinions. She hasn't got her own opinions. Oh no, she's very assertive. That's my child. She's very assertive. But it's been a blessing thus far. I think the biggest thing that's changed in me is that, and actually my family said this. I've become so much more militant in system, routines, organization. Again, maybe it's the perfectionist or but because my mom did such a phenomenal job in making sure that we had great nutrition, we had a stable upbringing, we had so many things that I value now. little things like lunches packed on time, never dirty clothes, everything just was, she was very good at the system she created. Never in a dirty house, just little things, bed sheets always clean. Because we had that, what it's made me do is become, it's funny how you become your mother when you get older. So little things like we'll be going out tomorrow, making sure the bag is packed beforehand, making sure we pick the clothes. So I feel like it's really made me very militant in like just very organized. And even bless him, my husband said, "Mate, you're doing well. You're really." I never used to be that person, but when you realize a whole human life is dependent on how much you have your stuff together, it could be 3 o'clock in the morning. You'll find strength to iron clothes. You'll find strength to wash clothes. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So I think it's definitely pushed me to be a better version of myself. I'm not yet at the point where she's 2 and she's speaking and she's verbally asserting her opinion. She definitely gives me the looks and the that stuff, but I'm not there yet. But I think what challenges the biggest challenge was the sleep training. I actually put something up on my Insta about that. Yeah, seeing someone cry because they need you. And having to, it kind of reminds, I think if anything, it's made me a little bit closer to God in that you see now why certain times, certain prayers weren't answered. Like, for example, she was struggling to get to sleep, struggling, like she'd fight it. She's going through this growth, what do they call it, growth spurt. It was a growth spurt and a sleep regression, where they have it every certain intervals. And we went to a party, had some cousins there, and they basically said, "Right, you need to start sleep training." What they had done was the further method where they leave the child to cry and come in at extended intervals, like 10 minutes and 20 minutes. And at first, she was crying, I was crying, my husband's trying to run around the house trying to make us not cry. It was a lot. But then the first night was awful, so much so that the next morning she was hoarse. She cried so much, she was hoarse. You ever had a baby be hoarse? I thought I flopped as a parent, this is it. But that night, it was the first time I lay her down, she didn't fight, she slept through the whole night for the first time she was born. The night after that, no problems. And to this day, she now sleeps all the way through the night with no hassle. Now, at the time, I thought, well, to see a child literally reaching out in her crib, literally crying for, "Please, I need you, I can't get to sleep by myself, I need your comfort." And you're watching, but having to turn your face away. Call me over spiritual. Of course, it reminded me of the time when Jesus Christ was hanging on the cross. And you know what I mean? And just the times when we said, "God, please give me this. And he's been like, "If I give this to you, it's not going to allow you to be better tomorrow. The peace you want tomorrow, if I give you this right now, you're not going to be able to access that peace easily." And when I saw how easily she accessed her peace to go to sleep, I thought, I'm starting to understand God a bit more now. So yes, there have been times where it's been challenging. The first few weeks were challenging. I always say to people, this thing is not for kids. Parental, it's not for kids. It's not for kids. I'm grateful I have a support network that is competent, but it made me really respect my friends who've done the journey alone and realize the kind of friend I need to be for the women in my life who are single mothers or those who don't have the same support system. It's taught me a lot.
Love it. Love it. Last kind of parts I want to look at is this album and you as an artist. And you know, back in the day when we used to do shows together, and it was always beautiful to just watch you perform with such. You would perform with such passion, like such. I mean this. Like I mean this, and you know, seeing behind the scenes the precision and the attention to detail and the perfection that you pour into it. But BUT, Artist in Me on the album, I messaged Ayo, I was like, this song was so real, that song in particular paints the challenges. Even though it looks so glossy and so beautiful, to be an artist, to put your art out there, what it takes. I put my album out in 2018. They said, "Hey, come on." Sitting in your room, printing out. Lord have mercy.
I get it.
Tell me about behind the scenes, what it takes, and I want practical examples, what it takes to do this from your point of view. What are the struggles of being an artist?
How long we got? How long we got? The biggest one for me, the only reason that I have some of the successes I have today, or the albums even out, is because of the people around me. I've said this before, I think it's so unfair sometimes when Rachel Kerr wins an award, or Rachel Kerr's given an interview. So I feel like if it was down to me, there'd be no album. There'd be no music. You'd get nothing, nothing from me. But it's the fact that I have my manager pushing, who has no problems looking like a fool at times if he needs to make sure the vision goes ahead. When you have an MD, a producer, who is not just your musical producer, but becomes at times your therapist. You know what I mean? When you have a band who are just so in tune with the vision that they're like, we don't care if we get paid or not, we're backing you, we're here, we're family. When you have that, there's so many things that need to be in line. And then, of course, you need the investment. You know, because you can have the skill and the ability, but studio time's not free.
Please.
Excellence does not come cheap.
It does not.
No, it doesn't. You know, so I think the biggest things, number one, is just finding a team. And I really do believe, I've said the power of prayer. God giving you things you don't deserve, but really spending time saying, right, being specific, this is what I require in order for you to allow me to do what you've called me to do. And not just being specific with what you want. This is my personal, what I've found, by God's grace, found has been instrumental. Not just putting what you want, but then going to the word and saying, I would like this. And I dare say, I think I'm entitled to it because your word says that you will prosper me more, you increase me more and more, me and my children, that you perfect all which concerns my life, that my gifts will go before me and make room for me and bring me before great men. You said when you do that, it makes things easier, I dare say, because I feel like with artistry, a lot of it's divine. And I think anyway, like I see people who get up and become successful and don't have that root or have that piece. And again, while the material success is there, the piece sometimes isn't. So anyway, long story short, I feel like to be an artist, number one, you just need that team. You need, people call it luck, fortune. I call it the divine help. And again, praying the scripture helps. I also feel like you need an insane amount of that imposter syndrome of, but I'm not as good as that person, but I'm not that person. But I can't sing like her, or I don't look as good as her. I remember growing up, you know, when you look at the likes of Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, and most people are like, oh my God, they're so amazing. Oh, I'm so inspired. Unfortunately, I had to grow into that space. I would be like, oh my God, they're so amazing. I'm rubbish. You know what I mean? I would grow up, literally. That was my mindset for a long time as a kid. Like, no one needs what I have. I mean, look at Aaliyah. She's just so beautiful. Like, you know what I mean? So I think really get into a space where you're like, there's only one Whitney, there's only one Mariah Carey, there's only one, you know, Brandy. But I dare say there's also only one Macy Gray, who has a very unconventional voice. There's only one Shakira, who used to get teased about her voice. There's only one J-Lo, who was told for many years she just couldn't sing. You know what I mean? So there are all these artists who may not have been the best, but they dared to be.
Yes.
They dared to show up. They dared to release things that may not have been perfect. I always say sometimes it's not about perfection, it's about being present. Because if we wait for things to be perfect, we never move, right? So I've learned that. I may not be perfect, I may not be as good as that person, but you know what? I'm going to be present. I'm going to release something. Even if they laugh at it, I'm going to release it. Even if it was mixed and mastered awfully. Because I can tell you the journey of mixing and mastering music. If you listen to my earlier stuff, you would laugh. One of my songs, Hold My Hand, when we first released that, I remember people calling me and saying, oh, you're releasing a cappella.
Oh,
I was like, a cappella, how do you mean? Oh, because I didn't hear any music because there was a bass line underneath it. But the mix was so, bless it, amateur. The bass wasn't pushing through. So again, and when people hear the Masterpiece now and talk about the mix and master, and I have to laugh because the only reason why it sounds how it sounds is because we had to be present and make mistakes in public and be criticized and be laughed at and be misunderstood and sometimes be threatened to be cancelled. But it's that defiance to say, I may not be the best right now, but every professional was once an amateur. All I need to do is just keep showing up and trying and hoping and eventually. But I think those are some of the things I have to go through. Just the mind. The mind is just such a battlefield sometimes. There's a reason why I wrote the song, I Am. I'm beautiful. I'm beautiful. I'm powerful. I'm capable, unstoppable. When I don't feel so, that's when I'll say in most. I'm all these things and more. Just believing that you're not what you see right now. Just something about just belief, and there's a whole heap of things. And again, that's why with Singer Side, a lot of what we do is just vocal training, but the other side, artist empowerment and artist development, just to get people in the mindset to release music and to just be. It's not easy. It requires your all. It requires sacrifice, and it's such a walk of faith. But when you release and you see the DMs, you see the testimonials, you realize, okay, at least if it just helped one person, great. Let alone if it helps thousands, right?
Yeah,
so
100%.
Yeah.
Someone had a question that kind of led to that. What was the inspiration? Was the inspiration to write the artist from your own experience, or was that a collection of maybe stories you've had?
So the person asked, the asked me is also, I'm so glad you like the asked me. Thank you so much for the love on that one. Thank you guys. Yes, I did write that song. I wrote the whole album. So the whole album was literally me in my bedroom just writing life. And so, yes, it was very much inspired by my journey. It wasn't, I think at the time when I was writing it, I had a problem with vulnerability through my artistry. I like the changes and the strong kind of passionate performances. And one thing I had to master was being vulnerable through my art, and that took some growth. So songs like Artist in Me, Some More, Almost There, I Am, those songs have a bit more of a vulnerable tone. And that took practice because I always write to empower. But that was, and the reason why I even put the artist as external to myself, I made him a male. I made it an external character, like I'm talking about somebody. And that was almost my way of shielding myself or protecting myself. Like, they can't know I'm this vulnerable all the time, you know what I mean? So it was my way of protecting myself. But, and that's why in the bridge I say, we're going to make it, I'm going to make it. Because again, we all have, if not an artist, an entrepreneur, a mother, a father, a sister, a brother, just something in us that we want to express in the best possible way. But challenges come, right? So for me, it was just, it was definitely from personal experience. Hence, even though I'm saying he, it was, again, just to clarify, it was my way of distancing myself from something that's such a vulnerable and sensitive thing. But no, it was absolutely
not fair. Just rounding up for you, for a lot of people, this was like, what, Rachel's first album? No way. I'm sure she's released stuff before. No. But it is. It's your first official album. It's your baby. And I know what it is to release that baby into the world. It's nerve-wracking. It's crazy. But what is it that you hope it does? And why should people listen to this?
People should listen to Artist in Me because it's music that leaves you better having listened to it than when you first listened to it.
Trust.
So everything about it is life-giving. Everything is intentionally orchestrated to give life, to give hope, to give inspiration, and doing it with excellence, with musical anthems. So I struggled to think of what the singles would be because I felt like every song in its own right could be a single. And that was very intentional because, as I said, it's great to catch a vibe. I mean, with songs like I Do, Change, Rescue, it's absolutely a vibe. But at the same time, I almost want people to be like, oh, I needed that. I needed that. Do you know what I mean?
Like, I said that.
Thank God. Thank God.
That's how
Thank God.
that's
It's
literally
just
how I felt.
life giving. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that because that's what it's about. It's just about giving life through music. So why should people listen to it? Think of having a ice cold glass of water on a really hot day,
Yeah.
or having like been in a really stuffy room and opening up the window and there being a breath of fresh air. Like that's what the music by God's grace is.
Yeah.
And I say that unapologetically because it required all of me for it to be that. There was trial and error. There was things that we didn't get right, we had to redo. But I can confidently say the reason why people should listen to Masterpiece is because it is absolutely life-giving. Do you know what I mean? And thankfully, when I see the DMs, when I see the emails and people respond to it, I know that that wasn't me. I know that there had to be something higher using me as a vessel because there's been times I've tried to write a song and it's whack. It's rubbish. But when it came to the artist in me, the Masterpiece album, there were so many times when I would literally open myself up to God and say, Spirit, like, don't just take over now because this isn't, I want this to outlive me. I want my kids to be eating off of this. I want people all over the world to get a new lease of life because they've heard this music. So you're going to have to take center stage. And I can guarantee, not to sound super spiritual spooky, every time, like even before this live, I'm like, please just use my mouth and say what you want to say. But every time I invite the divine, there are times I'll listen back or look back and I'll be like, that wasn't me.
Yeah.
If you ask me to do that now, I will flop the show. Okay, do you know what I mean? So shout out to the divine. But yeah, that's why people should listen. It's my masterpiece. It's my masterpiece. Yeah.
Rachel, thank you so much for your time, man. This album
No.
is it's what you just said, man. I can't. Because I listened to it, and like I said, what song was it I said? I said to Ayo, like, some more that needs to be sung in church. Like people need, like choirs need to sing that song. It's beautiful.
Because we're not good at being vulnerable, are we? We're not good at being vulnerable with music.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hear you.
So well done, because it's doing what you said it will do. And
thank you.
there was something you wrote as a quote. You said in relation to the album, it's more than releasing my first album. I'm releasing hope through my musical masterpiece. And we pray that that's what it just does, man. From ear to ear, from country to country, wherever anyone else is in their dark place, that they can just press play and, like you said, like a rushing wind of fresh air, they can just be uplifted, man. Because I am a first-hand experience of it.
Oh,
that is what it did to me. So shout out
thank
to
God.
you. And your journey
agree.
Your journey. The storms, like, of your journey, they make the piece or masterpiece make sense. Like it makes so much sense. The hiatus, the toil, the ups, the downs, but to get to the place of masterpiece, and even how when you talk about it and you describe it, you talk about it with such pride and satisfaction and contentment. And with my album, I know that feeling of putting out something and and not being so sure.
Oh, I've been there many times.
But when you're able to come to a place of a full contentment of that which I've given is its best, you can leave this earth tomorrow knowing that which I was supposed to do, I did, and I think you've done that amazingly. So
got it. You got it. And
God bless
just
you.
to kind of encourage those who may be watching, what you said about the storms, so much beauty can come from the storms. Storms are whack. They're difficult. Trials and tribulations, they suck. But so much beauty can come from them when you just relax a bit. Just, rather than react, just relax, rest in it. And if you're an artist, write from that place. Dare to write from that. Dare to make a mistake, and dare to write from that place. I feel like whenever I have done that, and again invited the divine into it, you're left thinking, oh, I'm almost glad I went through that. Do you know what I mean? Not easy when you go through it, but just to give hope that even the darkest things produce beautiful things. So yeah, don't let, I think sometimes what happens is hard times come and we use that as a time to run, or I'm not going to do this, everything's really hard, I'm going to push away the artistry for a while, I'm going to stop doing this, not realizing that you could just push in those moments, maybe not be visible, maybe not be visibly doing stuff, but behind the scenes, push through the tears, through the discontentment, through the disappointment, push and continue with the business, or continue to try and mend that relationship, continue to write the songs that, you know, you don't even know if you can get through because of what you're going through. When you push through difficult situations and endure, no pain lasts forever. No pain. Everything's a season. So just to encourage anyone watching, you're thinking of putting something on pause because you're going through, I dare you to push. I dare you to just pick up the wheels and just keep on turning, because though intense, though it costs you your all, when you go on the other side of it, it's what you say, that contentment in knowing, I've done what I'm meant to do. It's the first album I can listen to and enjoy and not tear apart and critique and be like, I should have done, I'm good. You know what I mean? But it came at a price, so yeah, just to encourage. But thank you, bro. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much for today, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, man. And my love to the family.
No problem. Always, always. Give us one more time. Tell us, where can we get this amazing album?
Sure. All some albums called Masterpeace, available on all music platforms. Also, I treated my supporters to a 1 hour free concert on my website. So if you do want to catch that, so you can actually see what the tour has in place. The tour is coming in July and June. We have a tour, as well as October. We've added some dates for October. So if you are thinking, what's the tour going to bring? I would definitely say go onto the website, www.rachelkermusic.com, and sign up, watch the 1 hour concert, turn up your speakers, and get ready to blast and sing those songs with me at a city near you. Yeah. But again, Masterpeace is available on all music platforms, and yeah, just enjoy it, and hopefully it gives life, hope, inspiration, and just spread some light.
Amen. Yeah. Amen. Thank you so much. Guys, make sure you follow Rachel Kerr. Also follow us. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I know we've done it longer than usual, but I wanted to make sure we get everything in. We're going to be back here next Thursday, 9 p.m. Thank you for joining us, man. It's seriously, like, these evenings, like, it's hard to do. I do that every Thursday, but it's hard sometimes. I cannot lie, guys. Help my daughter get to sleep and madness. But whenever we have these conversations, they're for you to gain as much as possible as you can from people's stories, for you to connect in at whatever point you can. Take something and apply it into your own personal life. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. Let us know how you found it in the comment section. Follow us, follow the website, and we're going to be back here next Thursday, 9 p.m. All right, take care, guys. Let's see who we got here. We said Emma Mika says, great convo. Thank you for joining us. Femstar in the building. Rolly Hearts. Who else we got? Mr. Taji. I hope I said that name right. Rachelette. Big up to you guys. If you want to watch it from the beginning, as soon as we finish this, it's going to be on our front page. You can watch it from top to bottom. Make sure you comment and make sure you share with someone you know can benefit from it. All right. Take care, guys. Rachel, all the best. Love
God bless, bro. Thank you so much again. Thank you, guys. Thank you for tuning in. See you soon.